Hello, everybody. I'm a practicing therapist and a doctoral student of psychology. Today, I want to talk about a topic that was requested. Actually, a lot of my recent videos have been requested. And so I like that, right? We're talking about a lot of different topics recently because of the requests. But today, we're talking about how a narcissist chooses somebody. Now, this person is male and their ex is female. And so it's going to be from that perspective. I'm going to say she for the narcissist, and for the victim of the narcissist, it's going to be male, but that's not always the case. You can flip it. But these particular behaviors are something that she might not be fully aware of, but it's something that she has some awareness of, which is very tricky. She has some awareness, but not all awareness. It's different from someone who is fully emotionally suppressed where they have no awareness. She has some awareness. She is able to describe someone that she wants in a relationship with, and you can normally see that it's about utility and the ideal image. People get this confused because they think, oh, let's say a woman has very high expectations. That means she's a narcissist. Might be, but more often than not, it's not just that. And people get confused and then they can't spot the real narcissist because they are confused at what the profile looks like. And so that's why I want to talk about it, okay? So the first one is that you or the target will be a band-aid to a wound that they have, okay? So that's why it's way more specific than I want a guy who makes more money than I do, right? Or who knows, maybe a really high expectation. I want a guy who makes X amount and he has to be A, B, and C, and he has to own whatever, X, Y, and Z. Okay, that is very specific. She might never find that guy, but it doesn't mean she's a narcissist. This is different. So let's explain, okay? She might have this and that, okay? So she is ashamed. Let's say that she grew up without a dad, okay? And so she actively seeks someone out who has both parents. I know this sounds like anyone could do this, but I'm going to explain how the image starts building, okay? Let's continue using this example. She really wants a guy like this, no matter what. So even if the guy doesn't want her, even if there's a great guy that could be great for her, but he doesn't have a dad or their parents are divorced, she won't pick that guy. She wants this particular image because it's an image for her. So what does it feel like? What does that look like for her? That means that she can hide the fact that she has a broken family. In her mind, she thinks that's a flaw, even though it's not even her fault, right? So she wants a guy who doesn't come from a broken home so that she can now be part of that. She can say, this is my credit. This is my credit. I'm a person who doesn't have a broken home. I am evidence that this has nothing to do with me. In fact, she might even start hiding or lying that she comes from a broken home just so she can seek out this guy. She might seek very targeted individuals. A lot of these people, what I notice is they might go to church so they can seek those types of men out, which there's nothing wrong with that, but I'm just letting you know in case you end up in this situation. If this is familiar to you, you will completely understand. If you're not familiar with this, maybe you've never been a target in this particular way. She wants something very familiar framework so that she can be this person. Another example, which is very sad, but I see it a lot. If she grew up in poverty, for example, she will do anything to get out of that poverty. So she will date and marry a particular type of guy so that she does not be a person who is in poverty. She will start pretending like she grew up in a certain way. She'll start pretending like she knows how to do certain like dining rituals and things like that. Certain, high income communities, they have certain ways that they dine. They have certain plates that they use, certain clothing that they wear. And she might really want to subscribe to that angle. So she might try and date a guy from that particular population just so she can pretend that she's part of it, blend in. Remember, a lot of things about narcissists is about the own wound that they have. It has nothing to do with you. It has to do with them. She's trying to band-aid that wound, okay? The next one is that, how do I even explain this? She chooses men who prioritize helping. Okay, it's kind of hard to explain. I'm going to try. It's not that he's helping her, even though it's part of it. And this is the part that's very tricky because a lot of men are like this. They prioritize being useful, which is quite literally like one of the most male things that any man could do, right? And I'm not judging. It's actually a good thing, right? But it also hurts them. And that's why I feel kind of bad saying this, because this is why a lot of men can be targeted, especially those who really focus on this. They not only want to be useful, but they also try to please and help other people. And so sadly, a lot of men are taught to do this, which is why this can happen. So if you are a man like this, there's nothing wrong with this, but boundaries are very important. You have to know who to help and who to not help, okay? You can't help everybody, right? Sometimes you have to help yourself. Actually, always help yourself first, I say. My opinion. Could be wrong, and I might take that back as I learn more. But for now, that's what I'm going to say. You're targeted because you focus on helping and fixing things. So what happens to these men? When you get caught into this dynamic, what you do is you do not set a boundary or you do not blame her. What you do is you try to fix her, fix the relationship, find a way to solve this, get her into therapy. And it happens. I will have couples where he emails me and says, I don't know what's happening. I tried everything. I tried to be the best husband I could be. I tried to be the best dad, and she's still doing A, B, and C. She doesn't want to go into therapy. She doesn't trust therapists, whatever. She doesn't want me to say this, but I think there's something wrong. I'm worried. She's telling this to my son, whatever. And this is an example, right? So he's emailing me once a session. Okay, that's fine. And then what happens is I meet them. She has no will at all to fix the relationship, but sometimes she doesn't even want a divorce. She just wants everything her way. And then he's thinking, we need to fix this. This isn't healthy for my son, my kids, whatever the situation is. And he's fixing mode, and she is accepting mode. She's just demands. Demands are getting thrown out, and her demands don't make any sense. They're not landing. They're not helping the kids. They're not helping him. They're not even helping the marriage. They're helping one person, her. And what does he do? Because he thinks this will help the marriage, even though it doesn't, it goes backwards. He tries to fix that, but it never fixes the marriage because she's not looking out for the marriage or him or even the kids, sadly. She's only looking for herself. And so it will never save the relationship. It will never save the marriage, but it makes her continuously in the position of power, which is why women like men like this. Sorry, narcissistic women. And so if you are seeing this dynamic, I know it's hard, but cut it off. Cut off fixing. Don't fix what she asks. Fix what you think is right. If you think your sons need more boundaries or you think he needs to be in sports or whatever, and she thinks, no, he has to stay at home and be with his mother, and you're thinking, okay, I don't want to make her feel bad, don't. Set the boundary. You want him in sports, prepare him up for sports. Whatever you need to know. I know that sounds like a really random example, and maybe a lot of you guys won't fit, but if it makes sense, it makes sense. If it doesn't, it doesn't. The next one is integrity. Now, this one is tricky, but they're all tricky. Like, why are we pretending it's not? This is a very sad dynamic, and there's a lot of abuse typically involved in this as well, okay? Men who value integrity, they're very honest. They value honesty. And this is physical proof. This is physical proof that she can hide behind your morals, okay? And so in her mind, she thinks, okay, a lot of these people do not have integrity, and they actually don't even value it, to be honest. They don't value honesty, and they will lie comfortably. Like, I have worked with so many of these. They are fine admitting how many lies they've told their mom, their husband, whatever, right in front of my face. They don't care. But they do care how people view them. They care about their image. And so by marrying a guy who has integrity, people will think that, okay, this guy is such a stand-up guy. His wife must be such a stand-up woman. A lot of people associate the two. And so she gets that benefit just because of you. She gets your credentials and your characteristics without doing the work. And the last one is men who have low self-esteem. Many of them do fall under this. Not all the time, though. You'd be surprised. Sometimes she likes you have good self-esteem and she wants to chip away at your self-esteem because it makes her feel accomplished. And so this is not always a case. But men who rely on external validation feel unstable when the narcissist withdraws that approval. And so it drives you to work harder and restore the connection, making her calling the shots. And so I hope this video is helpful to somebody. Please like, subscribe. I'll see you in the next one.